Hi, I'm Bob Hooey with Alberta Speakers, and I'm having a conversation with my friend Andrea. Andrea and I have been members of CAPS for quite a long time now, and she has an interesting story that she shares. Andrea, welcome to Alberta Speakers YouTube channel.
Thank you, Bob. This is a really exciting opportunity to chat with you.
Well, we're looking forward to sharing a little bit about you so that anybody who views this video will get to know you and go, hey, we should hire this woman.
Always lovely. Always
well,
lovely.
Let me ask you the first question I've been asking all of our speakers. So why did you get started on your speaking career?
My speaking career started 7.5 years ago, Bob. I had said all my adult years that I would sooner have anticipated the thought of jumping off a sinking cruise ship than have to stand up in front of an audience and do public speaking to 100, 1,000, or even more people at any one given time. My husband Lawrence and myself were having a dream vacation in Italy off the Tuscan coast when we sailed out of Rome. And we say that we had the good fortune of being on the Costa Concordia when it crashed on Friday the 13th of January 2012. From then on, our lives took a huge turn. From being ordinary people, we now carry the title of being survivors. And from that moment on, from those days on, the opportunity has come about endlessly to share the story of our survival, to talk about the accident and the events of that night. And for me, life became a whole new beginning. I subsequently wrote a book called Survival Was Only the Beginning. From there on, it was a whole new set of boundaries and life with different eyes.
Yeah. Now, as I recall, you actually had to jump ship and swim to shore.
Yes, we did. We were on the ship for several hours when we only got to hear after that so many thousands of people had had opportunity before us to evacuate and abandon ship. But as you might remember, there was reporting that there were complications with the evacuated instruction, and it was hours before we were called to evacuate, by which time there were no longer emergency vessels to get us safely to shore.
I mean, that's got to be something to talk about now that you've survived it. Very often I do that now that I'm a speaker. You know, I've said to myself, if I survive this, there's going to be a great story in here.
I didn't know, just at the time, I had no anticipation, even, weeks, months, years down the line. You can never foresee where the next step is going to take you. And it just opened a whole new vision on life for me, for my husband, my family, day-to-day work environment, friends, relationships, attitude towards even what we're going through now. Should I say, we're in the midst of this COVID disaster. Yeah. Our whole world has changed in front of our eyes. And I keep on reminding myself, you've done this before.
Yeah.
We can do this again. What is ahead is no longer scary.
Yeah.
What is ahead is an exciting opportunity for a whole new set of norms.
Yeah.
We've just got to tread day by day, recognizing the good that comes out of each moment, each day, and each new chapter ahead.
Well, I think one of the things that happens is is you get a chance to be reflective. When, as you and I were talking about before we started, I originally went into this particular industry because I wanted to travel the world. I wanted to encourage people to get out of their comfort zones and those kinds of things. And now I'm not traveling for obvious reasons. And I had to process it. And I came to the conclusion that, okay, I physically can't travel, but my message can. And then I went, okay, I can still do what I want to do. I just have to do it from here, from my little town in northern Alberta, instead of getting on a plane and flying across the world to do it. But the dedication is the same. So once that mental switch changed, it made it easier for me to deal with some of what's happening. And I reminded myself that as of today, I've got a 100% track record of surviving all these disasters that we've lived through.
Right, right.
So
So
we'll find a way to get through this one too.
the underlying common denominator on all of this, Bob, is that we can't go backwards.
No.
You can't think backwards. You just have to think that yesterday was a learning curve towards tomorrow.
Yep.
And how we used to do things is certainly not going to be the same as how we're going to do things going forward in all aspects of life. But what I'm really grateful for is that I've had the opportunity to learn from previous disasters, and to take that as comfort to know that we will cope, that I've undertaken this humongous life change before and realized opportunity with open eyes. I've overcome PTSD. I've overcome mental illness, resilience. Going forward, I feel strong. I feel excited at tackling opportunity, not only to help myself, but to help others. And in helping others, I recognize that the opportunity is making me better and stronger. By teaching others, I'm learning so much myself, which I'm so grateful for.
See, you actually just answered the question I was going to ask, which was, what do your clients get when they engage Andrea? But you just answered that. You're bringing a message based on your experience and something they can put into practice in their organizations or with their teams, whatever it is, and that's where you're bringing value to their lives. So let me ask you a quick question. If you had a choice, and sometimes we do you have an ideal client in mind, or a group that you really enjoy working with?
Bob, my message is so diversified because it applies to everybody in any walk of life. I speak to corporate organizations on resilience, on getting back to work after trauma. I speak to volunteer organizations on the impact of volunteers and how important it was and how pertinent the situation was to us, where the volunteers on that dreadful night have remained our very dearest and lifelong companions going forward. We would not have survived without them. I talk on community, on the gratitude we have towards community, as there wasn't a day ahead of us in months following the accident where we didn't see the most unbelievable gratitude and kindness coming from community around us. I talk about the glamour of travel and being prepared for opportunity, being prepared for anything at any given moment in life going forward.
Absolutely.
I talk about our relationships with our families and not taking any moment for granted. I talk about the joy of overcoming and seeing something positive going forward on any difficult past that one sadly always keeps a little spot at the back of one's memory.
Yeah, that's for sure. So let me ask you another question. You've been speaking now professionally for, you mentioned, about 7.5 years. Do you want to share some of your success stories, maybe a group that you worked with where something you did with them helped them grow, or, those kinds of things?
But I have so many just wonderful memories. One of my most recent memories, I recall having spoken to a volunteer group for the RCMP, where it was an award ceremony and volunteer appreciation. And unfortunately, I hate to say that I recognize my success in standing at a podium and watching the expressions of my audience. And sadly, I watched the tears turn to joy. And when I can stand back and see that perspective on what I'm giving somebody in my audience, I know that I have done what I set out to do, and hopefully giving each person in my audience something, a small nugget to take away, to leave with them in their memories, to make a difference every moment going forward from there on.
That is so true. And that's the real payment that we get as speakers is understanding that we make a difference, and sometimes actually seeing that we make a difference. We don't always see it at the time we do, but to know that what we bring to the table is valuable.
We do as speakers, and we stand up on the stage often enough, and it's so tangible, the reward of what we're sharing.
Yeah.
And then when we take away from a business perspective, be it a comment sheet or an online review, and we get such positive comments, positive respect and attitude and acknowledgement, it just makes each presentation an unbelievable experience and an opportunity to see how much we can do with, sadly, what began as a tragic story. Going forward, it's turned around for so many people.
Well, I think that's one of the things, like for me, knowing you for the number of years I've known you, is that you've understanding what you went through and how you turned it and reframed it to bring it to be something that's valuable for potential audiences. And I've always respected that. So let me ask you one question before we close. Is there something you're working on? You've got a new book or a program or something you want to mention to somebody who might be watching this?
So, Bob, currently, can I say we're all living in an environment where we've had to learn totally new ways. And I believe that what people can truly get from me now is starting to look at the future with a different vision, be it in one-on-one counseling and just a casual conversation like you and I are having, or something bigger, speaking to a Zoom audience, hopefully getting back on stage one day and talking to a corporate meeting, a convention, and helping people to understand that we can make a difference. We can go forward with a positive attitude. We can overcome dark memories and realize that it was only a lesson and a guide to help us make the next step, and that we can and do and will overcome challenges with the support of community, with the support of our family, with the support of a corporate environment, given the opportunity and seeing the rewards that we go to sleep with every night when we know that we've turned a potentially difficult day into a day of achievement, a day of recognition, a day of reward, a day of putting PTSD behind and realizing this too will change.
Yes, it'll pass. So Andrea Davis, I want to thank you for taking time to share a little bit with our viewers. And I want to invite our viewers to visit the website. You're actually on their website when you see this, but visit the website and check out what Andrea has to offer you, and bring her in to work with your teams and your through programs and events. We want to thank you so much for being with us today, Andrea.
Thank you, Bob. And I can't help recognizing and acknowledging your beautiful words behind you, where you say speaking for success. And truly the future is speaking for success, and to be able to share and give people the success that I have achieved from communication.
All
So
right.
I thank you too for your time, Bob.
Well, thank you very much.